If you are in a very technical field, say you're building a very special machine that costs maybe $100,000 US, your requirement will be very different from whether you make a commercial lighting fixture. So when you are building a machine and you need a light source inside, your major concern will be...
Hi Florian, welcome back.
Hi Michael.
All right, yeah, real quick, can you share what is your main role at Selenius? What are you doing day to day in your company?
Okay, I'm trying to focus on meeting with potential new clients and also reviewing inquiries with my team to make an assessment whether it can fit our scope or not. Yeah, that's my main role.
Okay, and today we're going to go deep into the topic of lighting. Lighting is a notoriously complex thing to manufacture, as I understand. And also, as I understand, the complexity comes in the different subtleties of brightness and colors and things. I know you're going to get into this. So the first question I want to ask you, what is the difference between special and general lighting?
Okay, so let's start with general lighting. General lighting is typically all the lighting that you are engaging with on a daily basis. Lighting you have at home, lighting you see at the street, on the streets to an extent. So lighting that you typically use in the evening and or early morning hours in the daytime. Special lighting is lighting where you have light sources either in specific equipments or in specific setups like commercial stage lighting, advertisement, shop displays, lighting which is kind of special, not in your daily use.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and in your business, which area of lighting do you mostly focus on?
We are focused on special lighting. So we are not in the general lighting field because they are very well established players, and this is an industry that has been built over the last 150 years, and there are plenty of people offering it. However, in the special lighting field, especially with the emergence of the LED technology, there are changes due to the introduction of LED technology that offers niches which are not adequately served, and that's the focus where we go into.
Okay. What are the challenges that that businesses face when they source special lighting?
Okay, the typical case is nobody wants to pay more than they're willing to do it. So it's a typical situation, say, hey, I can buy that product, it's great. I look at Alibaba, I can find it, or on Amazon. Why don't I just use it? Yeah. Sometimes it works. Most of the time in special applications it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because the application requirements differ in that particular setup to your usual home application. So coming back to this, I would like to say, when you are looking at your, let's say, your ceiling lamp at home, a year has 365 days. You may be at home 250, 260 days. Other days you're on vacation or out. And you come home maybe 6:30, 7 p.m. You use your light, let's say 3 hours until you go to bed. So 3 to 4 hours. Let's say 250 days times 4 hours is 1,000 hours a year. And if your lamp lasts for 3, 4, 5 years, then that's good enough for retail. That means 3, 4, 5,000 hours. However, when you are in the special lighting or in a commercial lighting space, let's give an idea, advertisement lighting that is in your shop display. The shop opens 9, 10 in the morning, closes, depending where you are, Europe 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. So we're talking about 10, 11, 12 hours a day. And at least in Europe, maybe 300 days a year. In America, maybe 365 days a year. In Asia also. So we're looking at least 4,000 hours for 4,000 hours per year. So 4 times the lifetime. And if you want to use that for 4 or 5 years, then we're talking about 20,000 hours. It's very different from the general lighting. That's for the lifetime. Or when you are in a technical field, in measurement equipment, for instance, for microscopy or for other scientific applications, you have specific needs in terms of spectrum, in terms of light density, consistency of the light output. That depends on the application, what you need. And those special needs are usually not met by general lighting products.
What are some strategies that entrepreneurs can undertake or implement to get their special lighting needs met?
Okay, usually entrepreneurs are these restless people that are not happy with the status quo. So they have to tell us about which problem or what they think needs to be solved better than it's currently done. And then not every problem can be solved, at least not with the current technology, but we have to see whether there is a reasonable path forward to solve this. Or they have an idea on how to solve it, but don't know how to implement it in a manufacturing manner. It's also possible. So those are the interesting questions to answer. And that is something that we would have to evaluate in a conversation and in a kind of interactive way. And also understand whether there might be already other people who have solved that problem in a different way that you may not be aware of. So that's also a possibility.
Well, let's just say someone is starting out to kind of assess the whole situation. What advice or what tips could you share to avoid some of the pitfalls that they might encounter with special lighting?
Well, lighting is a notoriously slow industry. So people are very, very reluctant to change.
Which people specifically?
The people that buy the lighting.
Okay, yeah.
Because lighting is an emotional product. What is good light? The average person cannot really express what good lighting means. I can go in all kinds of details, but some people say, oh, this lighting feels warm. Oh, this lighting feels artificial. This is strange. Or this make my eyes hurt. Or this make me get headache.
Yeah.
That's a typical response.
Right.
Of course, there are studies of what area of what kind of property may cause certain effects, but it's not very clear science. So our human eyes, since we are from the Stone Age side, we are aligned to the sun. Our normal usual light source is the sun. So that's why when we compare an artificial light source, we typically compare the properties to the sun. So one example, when you wake up in the morning, the sun comes up and gives you a very bright, more bluish type of light, and that will wake you up. This is meant to be like this. This is a kind of a biological response of your skin and of your body to this type of morning style of light. Now, not all the light you see. So in the spectrum, we have a visible spectrum. This is what you can see. And then there is the longer wavelengths, which is like a typically infrared spectrum. And then there is a spectrum above the visible spectrum, the ultraviolet spectrum. That's also part of the sunlight. Your body is responding to it. But in an artificial light source, for efficiency reasons, we usually do not have so much of these sections. So that's why a lot of people sometimes say like, the LED light looks kind of plastic, meaning there's something missing, but they cannot tell you what's missing. And that may matter or may not matter depending on what you do. And then there's a figure, it's called color rendering index, where if you are 100%, then it would be the same light as in daytime, what the sun will give you. And like previously, like 20 years ago, you had commonly those fluorescent lamps in the offices, right? And you often saw one is a bit brighter, one is a bit colder, and one is a bit warmer. And that's why they did that, is because the warmer and the colder one, they could cover a little bit of different section. So you put this together into one fixture to give you a bigger field. But actually the color rendering index was not very good, something like around 80%. Now LED light sources have the opportunity to give you much better light. We're talking about 95, 97, 98% for the good ones. And so actually the LED technology with the latest phosphor technology on that, giving a much better light compared, again, relevant to the visual spectrum provided by the sun.
Okay, so how do suppliers generally find, how do businesses generally find their lighting suppliers typically?
Well, the lighting industry is nowadays has been pretty much, for general lighting, has been almost completely absorbed by China.
China, oh, okay.
So most of the general lighting fixtures and designs come from China. And the reason for it was that the traditional light source manufacturers, the big three, at that time it was Philips, Osram, GE, they were actually machinery companies. They owned these great machineries to make those glass bulbs with, whether it's an incandescent lamp or a fluorescent lamp or a special lamp. They were making these glass blowing machines, and people couldn't compete with them. They beat the cost at that time. But with the LED technology, it's different. Now it's a semiconductor business. And yes, there are not too many players in the semiconductor field, but to assemble an LED on the PCB, you find thousands of companies that can do it. Mm-hmm. So the former competitive advantage of the big three was eroded by taking the machine monopoly away. And now with the LED technology actually offering a better technology, which is more widely accessible to the average manufacturing world, this opportunity was grabbed.
By China?
By China.
Okay, so then typically what does the customer journey look like when you are someone in Europe looking to source special lighting?
So at first of all, it depends on the application.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in a very technical field, let's say you're building a very special machine that costs maybe $100,000 to build that machine, whether it's in the printing industry or it's in the semiconductor or manufacturing or to build a glue or something. Your requirement will be very different from whether you make a commercial lighting fixture. So we have to understand what your priority is. So that's why the machinery industry in Europe is very strong, because there are different unwritten rules in Europe. Mm-hmm. So when you are building a machine and you need a light source inside, your major concern will be that you have a long-term availability of all the parts. Mm. Because if you may sell a $100,000 machine, you better make sure you can offer spare parts for the next 25 years. And if you cannot give the confidence to your customer that you can service your machine, it doesn't matter whether you are $10,000 cheaper or not. It doesn't matter, because the guy who buys your machine wants to make sure he can employ it in his production process. So there we have certain also European partners, but we also manufacture components in Asia for them. But the element here is to make sure that the parts you use in your equipment and the light source you use in your equipment, you can offer a consistent spare parts over a long period of time. This is in a technical field. Now, when it comes to the commercial field, it's getting more price sensitive. Mm. And now it's about to identify which parameter of your light is critical and which one's not critical.
Who's typically responsible for understanding those parameters? Is it an engineering side of the customer, or is it the founder?
I have to say, most of the time, those people that are in these technical fields, the founder is an engineer.
Oh, so
the founder is the one who is really in it, because he has learned about that problem.
Right. Okay.